Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Today we're going to be looking at the oldest Airfix kit in my collection currently, and that is this Airfix Douglas C-47 Dakota. This is kit number 483. It was first issued in 1960, and this is a Series 4 kit in 1/72nd scale. So, I'm not going to really get into the C-47 DC-3 story because I think it's pretty ubiquitous to most of you out there, but we will talk a little bit more about the specific markings and get into that a little bit more detail when we get to it. And so let's take a look at the boxing itself. So this is a different style of a box than what most people are familiar with. Some people call this a red stripe box, but we got fairly simple artwork on here with paratroopers coming out, full-scale construction kit, including adhesive. Don't think there's adhesive in this box, but we'll double check and see. Douglas C-47 Dakota. Dakota, of course, is the British name for the C-47. The U.S. name was Skytrain. So, look at the side. So I point out features: opening loading doors, retractable landing gear, movable control surfaces, Series 4, and show you the alternate decal markings of a civil version in Silver City colors. Notice this is a stapled together box. I'm not sure if it was common for this era of kit, but this particular one is stapled. Look on the other side here, pretty much identical. On the end, just simple yellow with kit number on the side, and on the opposite end it's in white, and the made in England on this one. So let's open it up and take a look inside. So here we got our instruction sheet with a lot of information about the aircraft and some specific information about some of the decals that are included here. Specifically, this Silver City DC-3, they're giving you some detailed information about how many they acquired and how useful they were after the war. There's listing here of the different groups of kits that were available, and making reference to a slip of paper that was in the package with the complete list. So we'll see that when we get to it. And so this instruction sheet was fairly simple, full exploded view with all the parts being called out by number, and then a 36-step instruction of how to assemble it. Making note of using Airfix paints and Airfix polystyrene adhesive. On the back, we've got some 3-view plans of the markings that were available with this kit. The silver and white one from Silver City, and then this one here from the USAAF. Interesting that they're calling for the top color to be dark earth on here as opposed to an olive drab. But that was probably a standard color in the Airfix paints that were available. So that's your instructions. Here's the little slip that was inserted. So it's telling you who packed it in case there's part number or parts that are lost. You can send it in and get your part replaced. And then this side's got a listing of all the kits that you could get from them. Have you got them all yet? So a few of these we've done before, like there's the Black Prince. We've reviewed that. And let's see, over here, what have we done? Westland Whirlwind, we've covered that. Typhoon. So a few of these we've covered already. And here we have our decals. Unfortunately, this only has the decals for the USAAF version. The decals for the Silver City one are missing from this set, but I was able to locate a photograph of those decals, so I'll include those here in a moment so you can see what those look like. But this particular set of decals here is actually for a specific aircraft. It's from the 309th Troop Carrier Squadron, the 315th Troop Carrier Group. And the 309th was activated October 1st of 1943, part of the 443rd Troop Carrier Group. They were in Sedalia Army Airfield in Warrenburg, Missouri. Their first C-47s arrived on October 26th. By January 19th of 44, they were transferred to Alliance, Nebraska. On February 24th, 44, the 443rd was renamed as the 1st Provisional Troop Carrier Group. In March 44, they transferred to Camp McKill in Hoffman, North Carolina, and they spent the month of intensive paratroop drop training in preparation for D-Day. On April 26, they were activated and assigned to the ETO as part of the 9th Air Force and went overseas to the USAAF Station 493 at Spanhoe in North Hampshire in England, where the squadron was attached at that time to the 315th Troop Carrier Group. They participated in Operation Overlord, which was the D-Day invasion, Operation Market Garden, which was the invasion of Holland, and Operation Varsity, which was the crossing of the Rhine. Now, the 309th did receive Distinguished Unit Citation and Presidential Unit Citation for the D-Day operation. And so this particular aircraft here, which would have been serial numbered 4292833, is an actual aircraft. I was able to locate a couple of photographs of it, so we'll take a look at those here. And then as far as the other decals, they mentioned here as being a Silver City, the GAMVY as a part of the Silver City group of aircraft. They acquired about 25 XC-47, C-53s post-war, so in the late 40s, early 50s. They were flying them quite extensively on a short haul throughout England. Most of them ended up getting picked up by other airlines at some point as well. But I was able to locate a few photographs of this actual aircraft and a couple of different versions of the Silver City livery. So we'll include that here as well as the photograph of the decals. So we'll take a look at that here. All right, let's take a look at the plastic now. So we've got our fuselage halves. Forget how robust the C-47 was. It's a pretty beefy aircraft. And as typical of Airfix kits of this time, very heavily riveted. Here we got some of the operating features, the opening loading door. Looks like the movable tail. As far as the fit goes, it's not too bad, fairly tight. Nose has a little bit of fit problems, it looks like. Underside, a little bit of an issue there. Slot for the stand. Absolutely no interior detail. In fact, the cockpit seating is just this little ramp here. One thing I find interesting is that these are all hand-cut molds, and I think you can kind of see that in these windows. They're just not quite squared up on all of them. And so I think that's kind of the handmade touch showing up on that. So there's our fuselages. Here we've got our wings, upper wing parts. Again, very heavy panel lining. I don't think this is necessarily the actual very accurate panel lining pattern on the wing, but it could be. Do have openings here for landing lights, and it looks like separate aileron spots. Here's the bottom side of the wings. And here's the center part. So again, that very similar rivet pattern. Now we'll get into some of the detail stuff here. Got a bulkhead piece here. Part of the landing gear. Got one of their props. Props not too bad. A little bit of flash needs to be cleaned up. I think these are the carburetor air scoops. Top of the engine cowls. Some of our clear parts for the side windows, the landing lights, astrodome. Yeah, it looks like this kit may have been started. Got one of the tail pieces here started, and actually it looks like they've broken off. That's unfortunate. And there's the other one. These are ailerons. We've got heavy ejector pin marks on the bottom of them. Very thick trailing edge. And rivets on here, which I believe these were fabric covered. And here's another probably bulk or floor for the rear of the fuselage. Part of a horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer. These do have what looks like fabric covering on this. Large Airfix stand, which has Airfix product made in England. Got a big piece of flash on the end there. And what else we got? We got part of the engine nacelles. Cargo door. Tail wheel. Not the best representation. Well, looks like we got a couple of props here, so maybe there was two kits at one point. Oh, there's another prop, so there may have been a donor kit for that. Here's some more of the landing gear parts. I believe this is supposed to be a paratrooper. There it goes in the door. Pilot. Looks like he's wearing a suit for an airliner as opposed to an Air Corps suit, but paint them different colors. Not like you're going to see them all that well through the windscreen that we have here. We've got our wheels with no treads, no nothing, just kind of blobs. What else we got? Door, pitot tube. This looks like maybe a purser or steward on the airliner version. Second crewman looks the same as the other one. Yep. The door, hatch. Here's our engines. And not too bad inside there. But fixed cowl flaps that are very thick and giant on the backside, so you'd have to really shave those down if you want to get a good look on that. And yeah, it looks like they have bits of like duplicate pieces in here, so there may have been a second kit that somebody had started and then started putting this one together. So just little bits and pieces here. Here's the tail cone, and that's about it. So there you have it. One of the early larger scale Airfix kits. Not too bad. They did produce this for quite a while. This was a standard kit for them. Let's see. Let's go down the list here. So, as mentioned, this is the 1961. 1963, there was an Airfix America with a different artwork on the cover. And then in 67, there was another Airfix issue that has the famous Roy Cross artwork on that one. At some point in the 60s, there was a Airfix Mastercraft, which was another U.S. boxing. Used the same artwork as the Airfix America. In 72, there was an MPC boxing as part of their profile series that added Pan Am and RCAF markings to it. 73 had another issue with Airfix with the Roy Cross box art. And also in 73, they modified the kit to become an AC-47. And Roy Cross did another box art for that. They issued that again in 74 and 75. In 75, also MPC did a profile version of the AC-47. And they were same decals as earlier, but added the AC-47 decals, and that was a photo box. 78 was another Airfix AC-47. 78 was a US Airfix AC-47 with a photo box. In 81, a classic plane issue with KLM Airlines decals. 82 had an Airfix AC-47 with a photo of the kit. 83 also had an MPC AC-47 with the original Roy Cross artwork on it now. 86 Airfix AC-47 with the photo box again. 87 Airfix Gunze, which is Japan, did the AC-47 with the photo cover box. 1990, there was one final issue of the AC-47 with the Roy Cross artwork. 2001, Airfix did a new DC-3 with RCAF and BEA decals and new artwork as well. They also issued that kit as a starter set. And then in 2008, there was a new one with the Airfix, new Airfix issue in 2008 with the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight markings, and the box made reference to that. That was also a starter set. And finally, in 2013, they did one more issue of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, and then they also included some U.S. Air Force post-war markings. Then in 2014, they came out with a whole new tool, so that was the end of the line for this particular kit. But man, it ran, what, 53 years that this kit was being issued. So pretty good run for this kit. One other thing I wanted to mention on the decals for this M6K, they come with, if you notice, they got red surround markings on it. That's inaccurate. By D-Day, the red had been replaced by blue, and I think when you're looking at the black and white photographs, this aircraft probably had a red surround at one time, but the blue in the cockade part had faded, and so then when they painted the blue over the red, that was fresh blue paint with the kind of faded out blue paint of the cockade, which then you see this kind of darker outline going on, which I think was probably misinterpreted as being a red outline on it. But that's inaccurate for D-Day period. This red outline was only used for a couple of months in 43. It was quickly, removed again because anything red, of course, could be Japanese. So they got rid of the red and replaced that with a blue outline. So some of the aircraft had that kind of transitional looking paint on it, and that's what the actual aircraft has, not this red outline. So that's about it. Have you built one of these or one of the various different versions of it? Tell us about it in the comment section. If you got one of these built sitting on your shelf, take a picture and send it in to us. Be great to add that to the next viewer build video. Well, thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.